Brain of Britain, the nationwide general knowledge contest, chaired by Russell Davis.
Thank you. Hello. The excitement mounts as we meet the last four of our 48 contenders for Brain of Britain 2018 here at Media City, UK in Salford. In half an hour's time, we'll know the full lineup for the semi-finals, which begin next week. Let's meet our four brains for today.
Hello, I'm Rob Cruz, a primary school teacher from Liverpool.
Hello, I'm Clive Dunning. I'm a teacher and I'm from Stockton-on-Tees.
Hello, I'm Tony Quinn. I'm a retired broadcast systems engineer from Liverpool.
Hello, I'm Brian Thompson. I'm a retired school teacher from Liverpool.
You can see the Northwest is rather ganging up against the Northeast this week. Let's see who comes out on top. The rules are very simple. You get questions in rotation, going by alphabetical order of surname. You get 10 seconds to think about your answer, after which I'll open it to the others for the point. 5 correct answers right in a row will win you a 6th bonus point. And that's really about all you need to know. The very best of luck to all four of you. The opening question of this last heat of 2018 is yours, Rob Cruz. Which constitutionally significant document was signed at Fort Belvedere near Virginia Water on the 10th of December 1936?
Oh, the abdication of King Edward VIII.
Yes, the instrument of abdication for Edward VIII is right. That was the document. Which organic pigment makes carrots orange?
Carotene.
Yes, beta-carotene. Tafari Makonnen Walda Mikhail, born in the Herer province of Ethiopia in 1892, is better known by what name?
Haile Selassie.
Yes, Emperor of Ethiopia from 1930 to 74, also known as Ras Tafari, the word Ras meaning a prince. Who was the first gymnast to be awarded a perfect 10 at the Olympics, a feat she achieved in 1976?
Nadia Comaneci.
Yes, she was 14 at the time. She left Romania for the US in 1989, she now has a son called Dylan. Gombe National Park in Tanzania is home to the Chimpanzee Research Center, established in the 1960s by which renowned primatologist? That one's gone. Okay. Brian Thompson.
Jane Goodall.
Dr. Jane Goodall, yes. Gombe was designated a game reserve in 1943 and upgraded to a national park in 1968. Clive Dunning, your question. As used in law, which single Latin word means he or she has stated on oath?
Affidavit.
Yes, affidavit. Although about a missionary in China, the 1958 film The Inn of the Sixth Happiness was largely filmed in North Wales, near Beth Gelert. Most of the extras playing orphans in the film were children from which city's Chinatown?
Aberystwyth.
It wasn't, no. Tony Quinn.
Liverpool.
It was Liverpool, yes. The Chinatown of Aberystwyth. I must visit that. It sounds... Well, you never know. You never know these days. Tony Quinn, your question. A butler by the name of Barrymore is a character and a suspect in which Sherlock Holmes story written in 1901?
The Red-Headed League.
No. Brian Thompson.
Hound and the Baskervilles.
That was the one, yes, serialised in the Strand magazine 1901-2. And Brian Thompson, your question. In the acronym for ordering mathematical operations, BODMAS or BIDMAS, what word is represented by the initial B?
Bracket.
Brackets, yes. Brackets, orders or indices, division and multiplication, addition and subtraction. You're right. What is the name of the American version of Strictly Come Dancing?
Dancing with the Stars.
Precisely so, yes. The ship, the CSS Shenandoah, fired the last shot of which war?
The American Civil War.
Yes, the war between the states. At a whaler off the Aleutian Islands in June 1865. It surrendered at Liverpool. What is the largest two-digit prime number?
97.
Correct. If you had polydipsia, you would be experiencing an excessive level of what?
Of drink.
Yes, thirst. Yes. 5 in a row. Bonus mark to you, sir. Well done. End of the first round with this rather dramatic score. Clive Dunning and Tony Quinn 1 each. Rob Cruz 4. Brian Thompson 8. Very early days as we return to Rob Cruz. Who directed the film Apocalypse Now?
Francis Ford Coppola.
Yes. In a standard game of backgammon, how many pieces or stones, as they're sometimes referred to, does each player have?
15.
Yes. Which chemical element is named after the inventor of the cyclotron?
Fermium.
No. Clive Dunning.
Well, it's Laurentium.
Yes, after Ernest Orlando Lawrence. Yes, and your question comes up. How many Welsh football teams play in the top 4 divisions of the English leagues?
2.
No. Rob Cruz.
3.
Yes. Can you name them? Doesn't matter.
Newport, Cardiff and Swansea.
Those are the ones, yes. Used to be Wrexham too, but they're currently in the National League. Tony Quinn, The Curse of Capistrano by Johnston and Macaulay, published in a magazine in 1919, is the first work to feature which character who's been played on film by Tyrone Power, Douglas Fairbanks Sr. and Antonio Banderas?
Zorro.
Yes, that's the one. In 1968, Australian sprinter Peter Norman stood on the Olympic podium in Mexico City after winning silver in the 200 meters, alongside 2 American athletes who, standing with him, raised a fist in the Black Power salute during the playing of the American national anthem. Can you name either of them?
Tommy Smith.
Tommy Smith or John Carlos was the other, yes. Peter Norman died of a heart attack in 2006, and Smith and Carlos were pallbearers at his funeral. He hadn't made the salute, but he had, like them, worn the Olympic Project for Human Rights badge, quite a big badge. David Devant was the first president of which organization whose motto is Indocilis Privata Loqui, or not apt to disclose secrets?
The Masons.
Not the Masons, no. Clive Dunning.
Magic Circle.
The Magic Circle is right, yes. Brian Thompson's turn. What was the famous battle cry of the Texans at the 1836 Battle of San Jacinto?
Remember the Alamo?
Remember the Alamo's right. Maurice Moss, Roy Treneman and Jen Barber are all characters in which Emmy Award-winning British sitcom?
Thick of it?
No. Tony Quinn.
The IT Crowd.
The IT Crowd, yes, written by Graham Linehan for Channel 4 and set in an IT department, clearly. Now the scores have leapt up all round. At the end of round 2, Clive Dunning 3, Tony Quinn 4, Rob Cruz 7, Brian Thompson 9. Now, Rob Cruz, it's time for our first musical extract of today's contest. Here's a pop hit from the 1970s with a question to follow.
I've been here all your life, watching your crying game. You were the heaven in my lonely world, and he was your sun and your rain. I was losing you before I ever held you tight, before you ever held me in your arms, and I will make you blue. Maybe an everlasting love will do. Everlasting love, so tall, so wide, so high above.
An Everlasting Love was a top 10 hit in Britain in 1978, and the performer was the younger brother of which famous trio?
The Bee Gees.
Yes, there's an almost unmistakable vocal resemblance. That Andy Gibb hit was written by older brother Barry. Andy tragically died before any of his brothers a few days after his 30th birthday in 1988. The medical condition epistaxis is more commonly referred to by what name?
That's sneezing.
No. Clive?
Nosebleed.
Nosebleed is right, yes, indeed. And it's your question. The Accademia della Crusca, meaning the Academy of the Bran or Chaff, is a society in Florence that since the 1580s has been characterized by its efforts to maintain the purity of what?
Don't know.
Right, fair enough. Tony Quinn?
Parmesan cheese.
No. Brian Thompson?
Chianti wine.
No. Rob Cruz?
Pasta.
Pasta? No. You've fixated on comestibles here. No, it's the Italian language, literary Italian or Tuscan language. They always think they speak the best Italian in Florence. Tony Quinn, once described as the coolest conductor in the world, which Venezuelan musician, closely associated with both the Simon Bolivar Symphony Orchestra and the Los Angeles Philharmonic, has won many awards, including Gramophone Artist of the Year in 2011 and Musical America's Musician of the Year in 2013.
I have no idea.
Clive Dunning.
Dudamel.
Gustavo Dudamel, yes, nicknamed the Dude. Yes. Brian Thompson, we come round to you. Which ancient region of Africa, corresponding to present-day northern Morocco and western and central Algeria, north of the Atlas Mountains, was divided into two provinces by the Romans under Claudius?
Africa.
No. Rob Cruz?
Carthage.
Not Carthage either, no. Tony Quinn?
Mesopotamia.
No. Clive Dunning?
Leptis Magna.
No. It's Mauritania. Mauritania Tingitana and Mauritania Caesariensis. End of another round. Tony Quinn now has 4, Clive Dunning 5, Rob Cruz 8, Brian Thompson 9. Okie doke, it's time at this point in this final heat to pause and let our competitors take their fingers off the buttons for a few minutes. I have a pair of questions here from Brain of Britain listener Robert Booth in Petworth, who's hoping to beat the Brains with questions of his own. Our Brains can collaborate on these and engage in lively debate until they've arrived at answers they're all happy with. And by tradition, if they fail to get them both right, Mr. Booth will win a prize. Shortly, I'll remind you how you can get your ideas to us if you'd like to have a go at beating the Brains. But first, let's see what our illustrious panel make of Robert Booth's questions. He asks, prior to decimalisation, how many farthings were there in a pound?
960. 244s. 960.
That was remarkably quick and remarkably right. Yes, indeed. 4 farthings to a penny, making 48 farthings to a shilling, and therefore 20 times 48 to the pound, which is 960. Right, we'll go on to question 2, which is also numerical in nature, but this one I suspect you just have to know rather than being able to work it out. On the basis that some of the bones you're born with fuse together as you grow up, what is the commonly accepted number of bones in the adult human skeleton?
206. Is it 206?
It is. Well done, yes. The number of bones at birth being rather more than that, 300 in total, but 206 is the generally accepted figure. Well, thank you very much for your questions, Mr. Booth, but I'm afraid our brains made very short work of them. So we can't send you a book voucher prize, but we must, of course, show our appreciation with this bone-shaking round of applause. Well, congratulations, panel, on that quick work. Now, you can send us your own ideas for this section of the programme at any time by emailing them to brainofbritain@bbc.co.uk or by following the contact link on our web pages. Alternatively, you're more than welcome to write them down, put them in an envelope and address it to Brain of Britain, BBC Dock House, Media City UK, Salford M52LH. With the semi-finals just around the corner, we're unlikely now to get around to your ideas this year, but we'll certainly store them up and give them our careful scrutiny with a view to using the best ones in the 2019 Brain of Britain series. Let's get back to the contest then. Fingers on buttons again, everyone, and we'll start the next round with Rob Cruz's question. A nuée ardente is a byproduct of which type of natural phenomenon?
Is it a volcano?
It is a volcano, a volcanic eruption. It's an incandescent cloud of gas, ash, and lava fragments, from the French meaning burning cloud. In a series of oil paintings by C.M. Coolidge, which animals are depicted playing poker?
Dogs.
Yes. A fully articulated wooden leg on display at Place Newydd on Anglesey commemorates the injuries suffered by Henry William Paget in which 19th century battle?
Trafalgar.
No. Brian Thompson.
Waterloo?
It was Waterloo, yes. He was hit by a cannon shot and had his right leg amputated. The leg has a hinged knee and ankle and is known as the Anglesey leg. Clive Dunning, your turn for a question with music. And here's the voice of the Manchester-born musician and comedian Chris Seavey, who died in 2010. Your question will follow.
In the biz, you get to meet all the top people. Trouble is, they never seem to be the sort we pull. Now we're on our way. I'm gonna live today, but there's no way that I can. Cause I'm in love. He's in love with the girl on a certain Manchester megastore checkout desk. I'm in love. He's in love with the girl on a certain Manchester megastore checkout desk.
Chris Seavey released that song in the early 1980s under the group name The Freshies, but he was better known for his alter ego, a comedy character with a distinctive nasal northern accent who made regular appearances on TV wearing a huge round papier-mâché head. What was that character's name?
Frank Sidebottom.
It was indeed. The canvas known as the Raft of the Medusa, seen as repellent by many critics and observers when first displayed, is by which French painter?
Jericho.
Yes. When at Charterhouse, which future Lieutenant General was known to his fellow pupils as Bathing Towel?
No.
Right. Rob Crewe.
Baden-Powell.
Sir Robert Baden-Powell, yes, you can see why. Tony Quinn, in English and Scottish folklore, what is a brownie?
An elf.
Yes, I think so. I think I have to give you that. It's a fairy or hobgoblin, usually associated with houses, performing domestic chores while the occupants sleep. I wish. Right. It's widely accepted that Who's resignation speech on the 1st of November 1990 led to Margaret Thatcher losing her position as Prime Minister.
Michael Heseltine.
It wasn't he, no. Rob Cruz.
Geoffrey Howe.
Sir Geoffrey Howe, yes, he was Margaret Thatcher's longest-serving cabinet minister, whose loyalty, ironically, was finally tested to breaking point by her policy on Europe. Brian Thompson, the man who has been Chancellor of the University of Glasgow since 2006, is the father of which comedian and 2017 Strictly Come Dancing contestant?
Billy Connolly.
Nope. Rob Cruz.
Is it Susan Calman?
It is Susan Calman. Sir Kenneth Calman was appointed Chief Medical Officer at the Scottish Office Home and Health Department in 1989. He was also Chief Medical Officer at the Department of Health in London from 1989 to 91. End of another round, and these are healthy scores all round, really. Tony Quinn, 5, Clive Dunning, 7, Brian Thompson, 10, Rob Cruz, 13. Directly back to Rob Cruz for more answers. Which English composer wrote the scores for Laurence Olivier's films Henry V, Hamlet, and Richard III?
Malcolm Sargent.
No. Brian Thompson.
William Walton.
Sir William Walton is right. Clive Dunning. Which 19th century French surgeon gives his name to the region of the brain that contains the neurons involved in speech function? Out of time. Shaking of heads. All round. Yes, all round. Broca. Paul Broca. The Broca area or convolution of Broca. Tony Quinn, now your turn for a clip of music, and it's from the first ever album by U2. This song, Shadows and Tall Trees, shares its title with Chapter 7 of which 1954 novel by a British Nobel Prize winner?
Who is it now? Who calls me
What's his book, though?
Lord of the Flies.
Ah, well, that's what we wanted.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
Yes,
misunderstood
yes.
the question.
Which 1954 novel by a British
My-
Nobel Prize
my
winner?
fault.
Golding will do fine. William Golding,
William
actually, is
Golding.
what you want. Several sources claim the novel was a direct inspiration for the song, but it's hard to see much of a connection in those lyrics. When Rhea Met Leonard is the title of the first episode of which popular TV sitcom first shown in the 1970s?
That was Butterflies.
Written by Carla Lane. Yes, it starred Wendy Craig as housewife Rhea Parkinson. How many Apollo astronauts actually set foot on the moon?
12.
12 is right, yes. Never knew that. Beginning with Armstrong and Aldrin, Apollo 11, and ending with Cernan and Schmidt, Apollo 17. Which eponymous character in a Shakespeare play has a daughter called Imogen?
Timon.
No. Brian Thompson.
Cymbeline.
Cymbaline's right, yes. Brian Thompson's question has come round. What sort of animal is a frogmouth?
Snake.
No. Rob Cruz.
A fish.
No. Yes, Tony Quinn.
A toad.
No. Clive Dunning going to have a...
Bird.
Yes, a nocturnal bird. You're quite right. There are not many types of creature left, I suppose, unless you're going to go into the jungle. The frogmouths are a group of nocturnal birds. They're named for their large flattened hooked bill and huge frog-like gape, which they use to capture insects. Now, the scores after that round are 8 each to Clive Dunning and Tony Quinn, 12 to Brian Thompson, 13 to Rob Cruz. Now, Rob Cruz, which 19th century English scholar and explorer was, along with John Hanning Speke, the first European to discover Lake Tanganyika?
Mungo Park.
No. Clive Dunning.
Richard Burton.
Yes, Sir Richard Burton, also a renowned translator, of course, whose works included the Arabian Nights and also the Kama Sutra. Clive Dunning, your question. Katharine Hepburn won her third Best Actress Oscar for her role in the 1968 film The Lion in Winter. Which queen was she playing?
Eleanor of Aquitaine.
Yes. The Heisman Memorial Trophy is awarded each year in the United States to the nation's outstanding college football player. The winner of the trophy in 1968 went on to become a household name. Who was he?
O.J. Simpson.
Yes. Later to embark on a TV and film career, and much else besides. Gunpowder was invented in Imperial China under which dynasty that ruled from 618 to 907 AD?
Tang.
The Tang dynasty, yes, you're right. Can you name either of the parents, according to Greek mythology, of the winged horse Pegasus?
Medusa.
The Gorgon Medusa was the mother, yes. The sea god Poseidon was the father. At which northeastern French town were Louis XVI and his family arrested in June 1791
Varon.
as they tried to flee the country in the wake of the revolution?
Varon.
Varennes-en-Argonne. Yes, you're right. 5 in a row. Bonus mark to you. Well done. Direct to you, Tony Quinn. Pedro II, who succeeded his father, also called Pedro, at the age of 5 in 1831, was the last emperor of which country?
Mexico.
No. Clive Dunning.
Brazil.
Brazil is right, yes. Brian Thompson, it's a music question, this. It's now some 50 years since the big screen version of Lionel Bart's musical Oliver was released. Hardly any singers from the original London West End cast appeared in the film, and this characterful singer was no exception, though she did appear in both the London and the New York stage productions. Who was she?
Pretty little Sally goes walking down the alley, displays her pretty ankles to all of the men. And they can see her garters, but not for free and gratis. An inch or two, and then she knows when to say when. Oh, Papa, Papa, that's how it goes. Oh, Papa, Papa, everyone knows. Whether it's hidden or whether it shows, it's the same, Papa.
Coral Brown.
It wasn't Coral Brown. No. She slipped through your net too, I think, folks. Yes? No, Clive Dunning.
Hermione Gingold.
No, it wasn't. No, slightly younger than that in those days anyway. It was Georgia Brown, birth name Lillian Clott. There she was in the role of Nancy, but it was Shaney Wallace who took the part in the film version. And that means, in this 12th and last heat of Brain of Britain 2018, that these are the final scores. Tony Quinn has 8 points, Brian Thompson has 12, Rob Cruz 13, Clive Dunning 16. So it's Clive Dunning who'll join us again in one of our semi-finals over the next 4 weeks, alongside our other 11 heat winners this year and the 4 top-scoring runners-up. And with the scores as high as they've been today, we'll certainly be inviting Rob Cruz back as well, with 13 points, and also Brian Thompson with his 12. So this has been a most productive contest. I hope you'll join us for the first semi-final at the same time next week, when we'll be at the Radio Theatre in London. From all of us here in Salford, for now, goodbye.